Alright everybody, welcome back to the Meat Stew 232 channel. I am Meat Stew and this is part 5 of a complete beginner tutorial for 7 Days to Die. We're going to get right back into our tutorial map. You can enter that same, let me go back to that. You can enter that same map seed as I have entered it there, and you will be playing on the same map. We're not going to change any options, we're just going to start the game. So the last time we left off, we had gathered some materials, we built a forge, we crafted a cooking grill and a cooking pot for our campfire, and we started making some food. As always, the first thing I'm going to do is hold square, come over and check my character. Our food is at 22%, our water is at 6%, so 4%, excuse me. Our level is at 6, so we need food and water first off. We're going to check in our storage chest. We're going to take this charred meat here. We're going to take our water. We're also going to take some goldenrod flour here, and I'll show you guys what we're going to do with that. Now, in the last episode, we already had some charred meat, and then we were able to make some bacon and eggs with the ingredients that we had on our person. So for now, we're going to take some of this bottled water. If you highlight that in the menu with triangle, it'll give you the description up here. Hydration plus almost 30%. And if you look in the recipes, because we are in the campfire workstation, we can make some goldenrod tea. So if you hit X on goldenrod tea, it'll bring up what you need in order to make that stuff. You need 1 goldenrod flour, which we have been picking up the entire time, and 1 bottled water. So we can make 6 of those total. We'll hit the fast forward button here. It says it'll take about 1 minute and 49 seconds. We're going to go ahead and drop enough wood into the fuel source here to craft all of those. Again, if you click X on top of a stack and then drag it over here, you can click square to drop individual pieces of that. So all we need is 1 minute and 50 seconds. We'll hit up on the D-pad. It'll start making this goldenrod tea. Now, since we are at now 3% hydration, I'm going to go ahead and eat our charred meat first. So from the output, if you highlight this with triangle, you can hit left on the D-pad. You know, eat that directly out of the output. And you can see, because that particular item has a minus 6.9 hydration rate, our water has now dropped to 0. So I'm going to eat this other charred meat out of my backpack, left on the D-pad. And our food has gone up to 46. Our water is at 0%. We'll check on the campfire. We have some goldenrod tea made. That is stamina plus 40, hydration almost plus 30, and wellness plus 0.2. We're going to take a look at the bacon and eggs here. Fullness goes up by 21%, wellness by plus 1. There is no hydration debuff, so this will not make you thirsty. That's why I recommend you always collect as many eggs as possible. Anytime you find a bird's nest, you should be searching it. You want the feathers and you want the eggs. So we will eat some of these bacon and eggs. And if you look over in the bottom left, it'll tell you how much your hunger or your food increases. So we're at 65%. This also gives us wellness plus 1. We'll eat another one of those. It's going to bring us to 86. We are not going to eat another one of those. If I was at 80%, I might do it, but we're at 86%, and I don't want to waste any percentage of that food. Now with the goldenrod tea, your wellness comes up by 0.2. So we'll go ahead and drink a few of these. We're at 28% hydration, 56, 83, and I'm going to go ahead and save those because I think that's going to get us to nighttime until we can come back here. Anytime you drink something out of a jar, it will return to you an empty glass jar. These are important because you can collect water inside of them, and then when you bring it back to your campfire, you will be able to convert that into bottled water, which is drinkable. I mean, you can drink dirty water, but it also gives you a chance of food poisoning, so try to avoid that if you can. We're going to clean up our inventory here. I will drop all of our food, our glass jars. And again, I've said this before, you always want to keep plant fibers, stone, and wood in your inventory just in case you need to build something. We're going to come back to the character menu here. So if you hold square and drag up to the top right with your left stick, it'll bring up your character, all the clothes that you're wearing, everything in your backpack, and all of your stats and your active effects. So last time we got hit by a zombie, we have a sprained leg. It's only going to last for another 2 minutes. However, this is a perfect opportunity for me to show you guys how to deal with that in a better way. So we don't have any cloth fragments right now, but we do have this blue t-shirt. I'm going to click R3. That will drop that into my backpack. I'm going to exit this menu. So if we come and highlight this blue t-shirt with triangle, it gives you some options with the D-pad. You can wear it with up on the D-pad, and that will replace it with the current shirt that you're wearing and drop your current shirt into the inventory. But we need to scrap that t-shirt. So I'm going to wear my plant fiber shirt, and we're going to hit right on the D-pad in order to scrap this. You see it go into the queue here, and then it gives us 3 cloth fragments. So if we hit triangle on the cloth fragments and left on the D-pad, it will bring up all of the recipes. You see we can make a bandage out of cloth fragments, and we can make a splint. All of this grayed out stuff, you don't have the other things to be able to build, but you can make those with cloth fragments as well. We're going to build ourselves a splint. So I'll hit X on that, and then up on the D-pad to craft a splint. And now we have a splint. So let's hit triangle on that, see what it's all about. So base price is 10. It tells me up here in the top right, sell price is 2. Effect, splinted leg, plus 100%. So if I come over here, I see my D-pad menu. I'm going to hit left on the D-pad, and that will use this splint. And now down here it says your leg is splinted, give it time to heal. And we can come back to our character menu, hold square, and up and to the right on the D-pad. We just lost that active effect of a sprained or splinted leg. So we're back to normal now. That's all good. So, we'll check character one more time. Food is at 81, water is at 78. We do have some mining to do. During the course of this video, I will be harvesting a lot of resources, and then by the time we get back to our main base, I will show you guys a little bit about how to level the ground around your base, and I'm going to improve this a little bit in order to make it harder for the zombies to get in. But for now, enjoy the musical renditions of John Sayles and some classical guitar. things have happened during that mining session. I'm going to go ahead and crouch, make sure I'm undetected. You click R3, that'll make you crouch. It's kind of a sneak mode, but mostly it'll just tell you if you are detected or undetected. This little eyeball in the center of the screen, and it says undetected. That means there's no zombies around. We're checking our character. We got 49% food and 0% water because we got overheated during that. Now, currently our temperature is decreasing. You can see the feels like meter here. But Ted Cox in the comments brought up a good point last time, and I do want to show you guys how to craft a cowboy hat. So if you come and highlight your plant fibers with triangle, you can hit left on the D-pad to see the recipes. That'll bring up everything that you can build with the plant fibers. Now, the thing that we want right now, you can navigate through these menus with the right control stick, left and right. What we want is a plant fiber hat. So if you highlight that with X, it'll give you the stats and basic information about this item. This plant fiber hat will keep you cooler in extreme hot weather and provide basic protection against other damage types. It only takes 5 plant fibers. We're going to go ahead and craft one of those right now. And even though our temperature is regulating itself already, if we come here, hit triangle on the hat, it'll tell us all the stats about the hat. Durability is at 100%. Gives us some protection against concussive, puncture, and radiation and fire damage. And our insulation is going to be at -10 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're going to go ahead and hit up on the D-pad. That will make us wear it. If we come back to our character, you'll see we are wearing only a plant fiber hat. So that is also making our feels like temperature drop pretty steadily. There are some other clothing items that you can craft in order to lower your temperature. We just lost 1 point of overall wellness. We're down to 103 because we have been thirsty for too long. We are going to take a look at our map, see how far away from the base we are. We did not have to come very far. We got a lot of wood, a lot of plant fibers, and a lot of stone, but we are going to head back to the base so that we can regulate our character's thirst and hunger. But before we do that, I'm also going to show you guys how to improve the base. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and start crafting a bunch of wood frames. I always like to make these in blocks of 100 because you can always use them for something. So we're just going to make 100 of these, hit up on the D-pad, those will start crafting. We will be back to the base before those finish crafting, and then I'll show you guys what we're going to do with the base once we get there. We did gain some levels in mining tools, we gained some levels in construction tools while we were out harvesting resources and enjoying our classical music. So we'll see how many skill points we have available to us, and we'll see if we can buy another perk. I'm going to pick up some more plant fibers and yucca on my way back. Always picking up goldenrod flower. Hey, we got a trophy. Christopher Columbus, travel 10 kilometers. I do believe the Christopher Columbus trophy or achievement is cumulative across all of your maps. So let's say if you have 4 maps available to you on one profile, you don't have to travel 10 kilometers in one map. I'm pretty sure it's cumulative across all of your maps. I'm going to put my clothes back on. Oh, except for my hood. I want to keep the hat on. And we'll go ahead and scrap this hood by pressing right on the D-pad. Open up our chests here. Got a bunch of stuff here, but we did make some goldenrod tea before we left. Where is that? Oh, it's right here. Very nice. So I'm going to drink this to correct my overheating. That'll get us out of whatever predicament we're in for the time being. And I'm going to put the rest of this stuff into my storage chest except for the feathers. We'll put all of this in here. Again, I'm a hoarder. I like to keep everything. We've got our wood frames, and I want to show you guys what we're going to do with those. Now, in the first video of this series, I showed you guys how to build this base. We had a problem with the door here. So we're going to drop these wood frames into our toolbar by pressing R3. And then I'm going to come over to the building section. I'll press X on this house, And we're going to scroll through these menus with the right control stick until we come across wood wedge tips. So here you see wood frame ramp, and you see a wood frame wedge. We'll click on the wedge. The wedge isn't what we want. The ramp is not what we want. We want a wood wedge tip, which is over here. It's a little bit shallower of an angle than the ramp or the wedge itself. So I'm going to show you guys one way to build a pretty good defense for your base. We're going to make 100 of these wedge tips. I'll hit up on the D-pad. Those are going to take 3.5 minutes to build. And the next thing we're going to need are these wood plates here. So if you hit X on that, it's just a flat piece of wood. We are also going to make 100 of these. Let me get those started. You have 4 slots down in here in the crafting queue. So it's going to take about 7 minutes for us to craft all of that stuff. But because we already have these wood frames, I'm going to show you guys how to level out the earth. So if you just place wood frames, you can kind of see how they will level out the ground around your base. Now, the place we built this is not a perfect location. I'm just making lemonade, you know? But as you place these wood frames, it'll make all of the ground around the base level with the bottom of these frames. This is primarily aesthetically pleasing, but also it makes it easier for you to build things on top of level ground. So I'm going to go ahead and go through. I'm going to make a distance of 3 frames out from the edge of the base so that everything's level. And it looks like we might have an issue with that over here on the west side because this ground is it's a little bit too high for us to extend that far. But I'll speed through this part of the video and then we'll come back and see what it looks like. I'm just going to go back through here and hit triangle to pick up all of these frames. If you do not improve the wood frames, then you can just pick them back up. Further on into the game, you will be able to make different types of frames. You can make cobblestone frames, you can make rebar frames for concrete improvements, but as long as you don't improve any of these frames with your construction tools, then you can pick them right back up by pressing triangle. And we'll take a look at the terrain after I complete picking all of these up. Now it is about to be nighttime, so zombies will be able to start running pretty soon. I'm going to stay out here after dark, but it is not a recommendation of mine for complete beginners. It just gets really scary and you can die really easily. But basically that leveled out all the ground around the base. And I got to keep all 100 of the frames that I built. Let's see, so we've got 3 spaces here out from the base. I'm going to drop these wood frames back into my backpack. I'm going to bring the wedge tips into my toolbar. I'll replace the torch into my backpack, and I'm going to bring these wood plates. So, hey, I'm level 8 and I have 10 skill points to spend. You know what, we'll come back to that because it's nighttime and I want to talk about that inside the base. There's several different ways to build a secure base. One of the ways that I like to do this is to use wood wedge tips, like so, with a wooden plate on top, like so. So this is kind of an exploit of the game. So what happens is that you surround your base with this type of structure, and the zombies, when they run against it, they neither damage the block nor can jump over it. Sometimes there can be some discrepancies with that. Sometimes they will phase through the blocks, or they will stack up and be able to crawl over each other to get inside of your territory here. But what we're gonna do, so our base is 5 by 5. Let's go look at this here with the plate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks across, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks across. So what we're gonna do with the outer rim is we're gonna make this 2 wider than the structure itself on either side. So we're gonna have 9 by 9 on the outside. So you can rotate these wedge tips just like any other block by using R2. Go 2 to the outside of that wall. Looks like we are 2 to the outside of this wall. And we'll start here. I'm just going to go all the way around the base with this stuff. Now, if you have misplaced a block like I have done here, you can just destroy this. Like I said earlier, with the frames, you can pick those up if you have not improved them, but unfortunately with the wedge tips and the plates, they just come out of the box already improved. And there's another issue we have here with our location. I'm going to have to dig out this section to make it level. That's going to take me a second. I will speed through this portion of the video. Side note here, we do have a bunch of feathers. We have 209 feathers. What I'm going to do here real quick, we did some nerd crafting on the previous night video. I'm going to make a wooden club. I'm going to craft that real quick. That comes out at level 211. We're going to click triangle on our feathers and left on the D-pad. That'll bring us to the recipes. And we can see we can make arrows. If you hit the fast forward button over here, it's going to take almost 5 minutes to make 209 arrows. It's going to use 209 small stone, 209 wood, and 209 feather. We will craft those while we're building the rest of the base, or improving the rest of the base, rather. Okay, this is a good time to talk about our crafting queue. So I started making these arrows, which is going to take us about 5 minutes, and now we're about halfway through that, but I need to repair this tool here. So I'm going to cancel this. It will give me back all the resources that were unused at that point, and then I'm going to start crafting all these arrows again. So you'll have to reset that up on the D-pad, and we got another 2 minutes 20 seconds, but currently we have 125 arrows. Okay, so this is basically what it looks like. Now the zombies will run against this. They will rarely damage these blocks, either the plates or the wedge tips. And you can improve those to higher strength levels later, iron or concrete, whatever. But sometimes they'll phase through it. Sometimes their remains will stack up on the outside and they'll be able to hop over. But usually it's only 1 or 2 at a time. So this is a fairly secure way to wrap your base. I like to call it the boxing ring. We do have some elevation problems over here, so before Horde Night, I'm probably going to dig out some of the earth around here and just make it level with where our base is. But if you find a more level spot, this is absolutely a wonderful way to go through defending your base. It is kind of an exploit. The zombies don't understand how to deal with it, and the game doesn't recognize the blocks as what they visually appear to be. But this is a good way to do this, and I think I'll take you guys all the way through Horde Night in this base. Now it is nighttime, so we're going to come in here, check out our inventory. We will drop what we don't need. We did pick up a bunch of dirt digging out around the base. We are going to come into the forge and we'll place all of the raw iron that we got from harvesting the boulders. And we are going to nerdcraft some tools. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, the first thing I want to show you guys, now we have crafted all of those arrows. We're going to make one more wooden club. If we come click on basics. Now the last one we made, you can see, was at level 211, and then we crafted over 200 arrows. We'll craft one more wooden club and see what level it is at. We gained 20 more quality points in our club. I'm going to go ahead and drop that into the inventory. We can scrap these other two. So it's always a good idea to craft your arrows if you want to level up your weapon smithing skill or the quality rating that your weapons have. So now even if I try to make another bone shiv, it'll be at level 231 instead of 209. That will save you some resources in comparison to just crafting wooden clubs all night. But you can also do that during the daytime, because if you're crafting wooden clubs, you have to scrap them, so on and so forth. For now, we are going to craft a bunch of tools so we can bump up our toolsmithing level and also have some better tools to harvest resources with. So I'll come over to the stone axe and I'll hit fast forward on that. Actually, before I do that, just so we can maximize the crafting time, I'm going to drop everything I don't need for crafting into my inventory. I am going to keep my bone shiv in case I get attacked. I'm going to keep this other stuff for crafting purposes. So we'll come over to stone axe, highlight that with X, we'll hit the fast forward, and up on the D-pad we can craft 188 of these suckers. Boom. And as they pop up, I'm going to hit triangle on them and I will hit right on the D-pad in order to put them in the crafting queue for scrapping. And then we are going to run around like a madman, and that's all we're going to do all night. But this is another purpose of the boxing ring. You can get outside, get some exercise, watch the zombies come and try to kill you. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this episode. If you like what I'm doing here, hit like and subscribe, go join the Discord, make some friends, exchange PSN screen names, and get on some games with us. I really appreciate you watching. Shout out to Ted Cox and Chunky Lizard for leaving comments in the comments section. That's very encouraging and it helps the channel, so I appreciate you guys. I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.